Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Nancy Mundy. I'm an experienced corporate technology trainer with an extensive background as a videographer, camera operator, and technical director in and around New York City. Today I'm going to give you an overview of Excel, and then we'll take a deeper dive into some of the features I have been asked about most often. Let's dive right in. Microsoft Excel is set up in a very similar fashion to all of the Microsoft Office applications. If your firm or place of business has subscribed to Microsoft 365, you'll find AI Copilot bundled in, and you'll see it there. If not, you can just go ahead and open Copilot elsewhere, maybe on your desktop, mobile app, or online, and refer to it back and forth. Today we're going to spend time primarily on the Home tab, where you'll see a lot of the basics that you'll need every day. Then we'll move to the Formulas tab and take a look at some of the more complex formulas and some of the features that we might need. Then on the View tab, we'll take a look at certain processes such as freezing panes or changing the page break that will make our output a lot easier to read. Let's start briefly with the Help tab. Microsoft has thoughtfully embedded little training modules within the Help tab on all of their applications. And you'll see them over on the right. And then when you move to the Home tab, they remain there with you so that you can practice what you're learning. These little help videos are 1 minute to 2 minutes, and they often answer the question that you've got. Another helpful place is on the File tab. That's the Options menu. Just like all of the other Microsoft apps, we go to File, and then down at the very bottom we click Options, and that brings up our Options menu. As you can see, there are a number of tabs here. Today we're just going to look at the first one, the General tab, and that's where you can set the font that is in use. If your office always uses a specific font such as Calibri, and it always uses it in a certain size, maybe it's 12, you can set that, click OK, and then it will appear in all of your spreadsheets going forward. You also have the option to customize what you see in that ribbon going across the top and customize the quick access toolbar. Let's talk about data entry, autofill, flash fill, and basic formatting. Data entry can be either text or numerical. Excel is going to help you out here because it's very tedious to enter data. If you enter a certain kind of data, for example, in cell D1 we have a month. Excel knows that. If I grab the little handle at the bottom right of that cell, Excel is going to autofill subsequent months. Similarly, if I have a numerical value and I grab that little nub and drag it down, it will autofill exactly the same thing. However, I can create a series. And now if I grab this series and then grab the nub and drag it down, Excel will now autofill based on that series. As you can see, it increases by 20 every time, and it also puts in these little mini menus that allow you to change the operation on the fly. Similarly, there is a feature called flash fill. Let's say I'm in A1 and I'd like to break this out into first name and last names. So I have selected, I've told Excel that I'm going to use just the first names here, and maybe I'll put the last names in the next column. If I hit Control E, Excel immediately knew that the operation was to break out the first name. This is called a flash fill. And you can see it puts in a little flash fill menu. You can also use it for things like extracting an email domain. Down here in A7, I have a full email, and I've told Excel what I want to do here is break out the domain. So I'm going to hit Control E, And you can see that flash fill operation immediately selected the email domain. That is autofill, flash fill, and autofill using sequencing. In column K, I have put in numbers with decimal points. Right above it is my formatting section. These numbers are formatted as general information. Select the column, select currency, and now it's dollars. I also have handy little icons right below that so that I don't even have to open. I can change that to percent, and I can increase or decrease the decimal value here. So that allows you to format your numerical input however you want to. Change it back to general so that you can use both numbers and text data. Just to the right of that, we have conditional formatting. Conditional formatting throughout the Microsoft apps works with a concept called rules. There are rules that create an if-then scenario, such as if the cell contains the word yes, turn it green. If the cell contains the word no, turn it red. This is information for another video, but I just want to point out to you we do have conditional formatting, and cell styles, which can help make your data clearer. Just to the right of that, we can insert rows and columns, delete rows and columns, and format the individual cell. To the right of that, we have some of our most common formulas: auto sum, average, max, and minimum. We're going to look at that next. There are thousands of formulas available to you in Excel, and they are categorized on the Formulas tab. The most common is summing up a column of numbers. Let's take a look at C7 and just hit the sigma that indicates auto sum. You can see that it writes the formula for you. A formula always begins with the equal sign. So the number that we want in this cell, which is C7, will be written like this. This number equals the sum of cell C5 and cell C6. To subtract, we're going to write our own formula. The number in this cell equals the information in E5, and then I'm going to put in the minus number, the information of E6. To multiply, I'm going to say equals the information in this cell. The multiplication symbol is the asterisk, and you hit enter. The symbol for division is the /. And there you have your basic formulas. Anytime you click on a cell that has a formula in it, it will also show in your formula bar. If we want to pull a formula down a column so that it keeps repeating the same process, we're going to use a formula with relative values, meaning that the values will move as the formula moves. If I select cell F2 and look at my formula bar, it tells me that behind this number was generated by a formula multiplying the information in cell D2 by the information in cell E2 to give me this information. If I want to use Excel's autofill and I pull on that nub, know that it is going to drag down that formula, and because we're using relative values, the formula will reference the relative cell. For example, in F7, the formula is there, as you can see in the formula bar. It has been pulled down. It's no longer referencing D2 and E2, it's now referencing D7 and E7, which is what we want. If you do want to pin your information to a specific table, that's again in my other video on formulas, but that uses a concept called absolute values. If you want a persistent value in all of your formulas as you move it down, that's called an absolute value, and you can do that as well. Today we're just talking about relative values. If we want to copy and paste the entire table, we have to understand what type of paste operation we're using. If we just paste this, we're pasting the whole table. We can, however, just paste the values. We can paste the formulas. We can transpose. So you have to be very careful when you are copying and pasting in Excel exactly what paste operation you're going to be using. You might be working with a very large spreadsheet that has a lot of information. In this case, let's start by adding the formula we need here in H2. So this equals the information in F2 times the information in G2. And if I drag that down, since it's a relative formula using relative values, it will relatively access the cells immediately to its left. I might also want to sum up all this information, and this is where AutoSum comes in handy. I am on the Home tab on the far right. I click on the sigma, and it is accessing all of the information immediately prior. I could adjust that just by adjusting these numbers, but today I'm going to leave it. I want all of this information. You might want to filter this information so that you can get a picture of what's happening in different months. Again, I can do that from the Home tab or the Data tab. Let's stay on the Home tab. To insert filters, select the row that contains all of the different columns that need to be filtered. Come up to the right, Sort and Filter, and if you add filters, now you have your little drop downs, and it will pull from the information in the column immediately below it. For example, the month column shows me all of the months below it. If I don't want to see that, if I just want to see what happened in January and February, I deselect all and I select those 2 months, and there they are. If I want to sum up the newly filtered dollar amounts, I'm going to select the cell where I want that to appear. I'm going to put in the AutoSum formula, but I'm going to be careful to reselect the range. Otherwise, it would refer back to the unfiltered data. So now that I've reselected the information that I want and I am auto-summing, now I get the correct answer. So always remember that if you are resumming your filtered data, you're going to have to reselect the range of information that you want it to sum up. To add additional filtering criteria, notice, for example, that the month filter doesn't include all 12 months. Right off the bat, I can see that October is missing. So I'd like to add October, and I can do that at the bottom of the list. And then that criteria appears in my list of filtering. On the View tab, it's also another handy feature called freezing panes. This is a pretty bulky list. We might want to freeze the top row or freeze the left so that when we move through the spreadsheet, we don't lose sight of our criteria. I'm on the View tab and I've selected Freeze Pane. So if I freeze the top row, then when I scroll, I still have the filter row in place. Similarly, I can freeze the first column so that as I scroll right to left, left to right, that doesn't move either. unfreeze everything just here. Again, on the View tab, freezing panes. You can also select a column and then freeze to the right or to the left of that. On the View tab, I am by default in the normal view, but I might want to look at the page layout view so that I can add a header, a date, and so on. If I want to get out of this view, I can just click away, and you can see that it now has my header. I might want to see where the page breaks are so that I can see what prints, and back to normal views. You'll find charts on the Insert tab. Charts are a great way to illustrate and present your data, but you must be clear on the story your data is telling. Different data lends itself to different charts. Charts always reference a table, so make sure that the data in your table is accurate. In order to have Excel suggest the type of chart I might need, I'm going to select the chart data itself. I'm going to leave off the title. It tends to confuse Excel. Then I'm clicking on Recommended Charts, and Excel is going to provide me with different types of charts that would best represent this data. A pie chart would be good. It could show you who billed the most, a bar chart vertical, or a bar chart horizontal. Let's go with the bar chart vertical. You can see that there are two tabs here, all charts. You can choose your own, or just go with the recommendation. This provides us with a very basic chart, but we might want to enhance this just a little bit. If I select here, we're talking about the different chart elements. This element is the chart title. And I can amend that. Click outside, and I have three icons on the right that allow me to amend my chart. You also have chart styles and colors in the ribbon now once you've got your chart in place. This is called Design Elements. And once you have the elements selected, you can use the Format tab to further enhance the element itself. Walking through the different elements, I click the plus sign, and you can see I can title the axis or not. I can put in data labels or leave them off. I might want to have a trend line. So there are any one of a number of ways that you can enhance your chart, and these little carrots give you even further menu options. And on the very far left, I can use quick layout options as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. And if the content has been useful to you, please consider subscribing. It's free.